Hello out there to everyone in the verse. Gabby here with my weekly show where I do my best to offer up advice and solutions to the many interpersonal problems that any one of us might face, whether that be tackling relationship difficulties or just being an ear for someone in need. Tonight we have a couple of interesting stories I want to share, and of course a Dear Gabby update as well. Remember that if you have your own difficulty you would like to share, please mail in your concern or you can post it in the comments below and I will give my very best advice to you if chosen. So be sure to let me know your troubles for your own chance at a problem-solving take from the galactically known Gabby. Welcome back, Trumbull. Are you excited for the galaxy's premier aerospace event that starts tomorrow?
I am, but I'm not even sure what's going on. I've seen signs and lots of purple though.
I'm so glad you brought up purple because when I saw the purple paint coming for the Origin 600i, I about fainted, Trumbull. Gabby is going to be flying about in style.
I saw that, but I am still let down that Cutter did not get into the top 4. I'm not the biggest purple fan, but it still would have been nice to see it appreciated.
Well, Trumbull, I am sorry your ship did not make it into the top 4, which I was surprised about, but I think this year's top 4 was a nice show of diversity, and had the Cutter also made it, Drake would have walked away with 3 of the 4 ships. Anyway, we have a jam-packed show today, so let's go ahead and roll the thing. I will try not to rush tonight's show, but I gotta tell ya, Gabby's got a hankering for something to eat, which reminds me to talk about tonight's sponsor, Twins Sandwiches. These aren't your everyday average kitchen-made sandwiches now. Gabby can make a mean Thorshoe meat sandwich, but sometimes I just don't have the time. But that's okay because Twins has me covered. I get on down there and order me up a bacon club, which is my go-to. But at times when I'm feeling frisky, I grab the Godmother, which has layers of cured meat and salami, stacked high with tangy Faso cheese, tomatoes, lettuce, roasted peppers, and their famous house dressing on rice bread. I keep meaning to try their avocado and corn, but every time I go, I just gotta have my 2 favorites, and sometimes Miss Gabby isn't too adventurous, at least with her food. But by all means, all of you need to head over to Twin Sandwiches or order directly from your Moby Glass and try that avocado and corn, and let Gabby know how it tastes. And as they say, it's what's inside that counts. My tummy's grumbling, so on with the show. Our first writer is one with a noble cause who seems to be having a crisis of faith, and they write, Dear Gabby in Space, I am a man of the clergy who goes about to various camps around Stanton to preach the Word of God and to give humanitarian relief to those in need. I mostly visit desolate camps where sometimes folks are known to shoot first and ask questions later. But I've just learned to trust in God's plan, and it has never led me astray. My issue isn't with any of the many citizens that I've helped, but with the heads of my church who seem to only want to help those they feel are more in line with their overall comfort zone, which are those who will attend service at a sanctioned facility versus going out and doing things the old-fashioned way as it was done on ancient Earth, where you help those and spread the word who need it the most. I have been asked to give up the missionary work and go preach at a larger facility on Lauraville, which is a city in need of more of God's will, but the calling I feel is out in the many worlds I now serve. It has been put to me that I do not have a choice, but I answer to God and not the whims of my church. I have rarely heard you mention religion, Sister Gabby, but I was still hoping you might have a bit of advice on the matter. I appreciate your time, and I know God smiles on the service you bring to those in need. Signed, Father Moon. Dear Father Moon, thanks for the letter, and I can appreciate your situation more than you know. I was once part of a group of therapists who were tasked with doing something similar, offering guidance to those in need who most often than not were less fortunate and really needed help. It was a calling I felt from a very young age, but as the years went on, I soon realized that my path lay in a different direction than that of the organization I worked for, and so I made the difficult decision to follow my own own road, which led me to where I am today. I'm not giving you direct advice because our situations are very different, but I will say that if the voice inside of you is constantly at odds with your current or projected path, that it might be worth listening to. I'm sure Lorville could use your help, but then again, what you do out in the verse is also something that is needed, and if that path feels like it's a stronger calling, then perhaps that is where you are needed most. If the organization you are with cannot understand that, then perhaps that is just further proof that it is the right thing to do. I wish you luck and hope to hear more from you and your travels. I have no problem with what you're doing, even if I do not share the same religious beliefs as you, and will gladly help spread the word of your trials and triumphs, so to speak. Take care. So we haven't had any love issues in a while on the show, oddly enough, but this next letter is just that, and they write, Dear Gabby in Space, I am in a dilemma. I have been friends with a coworker for quite a while now, and we've always been good friends, but just good friends. But the last 2 weeks, something has just changed inside of me. Now when we hang out, I have been seeing him in a whole different light. When we go out socially, I now find myself looking at him longingly when he isn't looking at me. He's in my mind all the time, especially when we're not together, and I simply do not know why this has happened, but it is there, and I cannot just unfeel it. I am terrified of telling him because if he does not feel the same way, and let me be clear here, he has never once showed or shared that he does, then I might lose a good friend. And then of course it would also make work very odd. I'm at a loss for how to handle this, and honestly I wish this had never happened. I need advice and I have no one else to ask. Signed, Love Fever. Dear Love Fever, believe it or not, your situation comes up a lot more than you know. From my experience, if you cannot detect any romantic feelings from them, you might be best not mentioning it because it will definitely change the relationship. It needs to happen organically, and if he has shown no signs of interest, then it will probably be as you fear and not end well or make things very uncomfortable for both of you, especially since you work together where you cannot avoid one another. That still leaves you and how you can deal with this situation. Is it possible for you to maybe take some time off work and go do something that puts distance between the two of you? What this could do is force his hand to show emotions that he might have, but would only share them if he felt the pain of distance. I think regardless of what you do, you should create less ways to spend time together just to help you get over what you're feeling and perhaps provide some clarity. I know if you two hang out a lot, it will be a jolt for you to experience his absence from your life, but again, it should help you either move on or for him to show how he feels. I hope it works out for you either way, and please let us know how things turn out or if you need further assistance. It is now time for a Dear Gabby update, and this week's update comes to us from Lyle from Lyria, who has a comment about last week's guest, Giles of Nobility, and they write, Dear Gabby in Space, I wanted to say that I was disappointed with how you handled the writer, Giles of Nobility's letter, and not correcting the many lies and blatant hyperbole they stated in their letter. Come on, kings of America. America did not have kings, and if this guy helped broker a peace treaty with Xenothreat, I'm a space whale. I was let down to say the least that you did not call him out for his obvious fibs, and are even thinking of allowing him to keep on writing in with his tabloid drivel. I'm not sure I agree with you here on this one, which is rare for me, and I just cannot understand why you would subject the rest of us to these outlandish stories. Signed, Lyle from Lyria. Dear Lyle from Lyria, thank you for your letter of concern. I understand your worries, and you are right. When unchecked, someone who tells outright lies and are deceitful is not something anyone would want over the air. But at the same time, this show is about helping people, and I have had experience with others who are known for their not quite honest stories, and most do this for attention. Consider this part of his therapy. I did not want to turn him away and will only allow things over the air that will not harm others or cause a sensational panic. Meanwhile, the things he did say could or could not have some form of truth to them, which is often the case with people who have the issue of using hyperbole as a form of attention grabbing. He could very well be descended from what was considered royalty of ancient Earth, which, as is the case now, very rich and powerful business owners can be considered royalty even to this day, with some having much more power than your average politician or leader. Again, I appreciate your concern and I hope you stay tuned because I have a feeling things will be entertaining to say the least, but I will never allow him to say or do anything that can cause harm. Take care. That is all for this week's show. Tune in next week, and until then, I hope you all stay safe out there in the verse. Me and Trumbull wish you all well. Thank you for watching. Say goodnight, Trumbull.
Good night, Trumbull.